Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. This is Ben Kinney. Today I'm joined with Chad Himes and Bob Stewart. We're continuing on with a series about influence and persuasion. Robert Cialdini, a doctor of behavioral science, wrote a book called Influence, the Science of Persuasion. And he talked about some very specific tactics that can be used and are used on us, I would guess, every single day to persuade us to take action, buy something, believe something, or do something. In his book, Influence, he talked about the science of persuasion. He gave us 6 specifics that he dug into, laws, sciences, model, whatever. The first one was reciprocity, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The principle of reciprocity describes our tendency to want to offer something when something is actually received. See, Chad, we feel obliged to do something in return because something was done for us.
Sure.
I didn't get any Christmas presents last year. Maybe I should have gave some in advance. Like next year, what my plan is I'm going to mail out like 73 Christmas presents 2 weeks early. And then they're going to come in like baseballs, Bob, because you're going to feel obliged to do something in return.
Is that why they say giving is better than receiving? Because when you give, you receive.
Indeed. Indeed. The science of reciprocity. What's interesting, boys, in 1974, a researcher named Philip Kunz, I think, did an experiment.
Okay.
He mailed out 600 Christmas cards to 100% complete strangers.
Wow.
He received nearly 200 replies.
Bob,
From
what's
people,
the math?
A third.
Okay.
For people he didn't even know that he just mailed a random Christmas card out to.
So if you're lonely and the holiday seasons are coming, send at least 3 Christmas cards to people you don't know. You should get at least 1 back.
This is reciprocity at work. This is showing you that when you do something, you receive something. Now, I feel a little bit guilty because I never send anything out for Christmas cards, and I get a bunch of them. Thanks, Bob, Chad. Keep them coming. I'm not going to send you one. You know, do you get invited to a party? Do you invite people to yours? It's hard because I don't party. I don't people, right? Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, hey, nobody ever invites me to anything. Well, 1, Ben, you never show up.
That would be one reason.
Number 2, you never invite us.
The thing is, though, I send you the Christmas card and you never send one back, but I feel like you never send me one back, so you kind of owe me something. It's not going to be a Christmas card, right? But I'm building that bank with you where you're like, oh, I owe Bob a something.
We were talking about that before we started recording. Bob and I were. Bob, dive into that a little bit more, this whole bank concept when it comes to reciprocity.
Well, look, this is a tactic we've deployed throughout my entire career. And I think I've shared this on the podcast before, but one of our first businesses, my co-founder, one day we sat down and we said, look, we get a lot of people come in, they need something. Hey, can you fix this widget? Or how do I do this thing? And we said, what if every day we just unintentional, unannounced, right? We just respond to that ask, hey, how do you do this thing? And then we just go out of our way to do something totally unexpected for that person, make a suggestion for them, offer them help, say that you should try this thing, educate them, right? And we basically adopted that as a philosophy. Everybody in our company every day went out of their way. And, as you think about persuasion, and as we're specifically talking about reciprocity, like from the book, the idea is I'm giving them this thing because I'm then going to ask them for something, kind of after that, right? But our idea was we're going to give them this thing, right? This piece of unsolicited advice that we think would add value to their lives or their business. And And then we just kind of bank that. And if every day, everybody in the company, at that point, we had a 10-person company, but 10 of us were banking something, right, with 10 of our customers, we would have a lot of room later to go back and ask for something from that person, right? So it was this concept of like banked reciprocity. We weren't doing it because we had something to even ask them for right then. We were just filling that bank up, and we knew if we did that for a long time, we've got a lot of people that would kind of owe us a favor. It's like The Godfather, though, right? There's that quote where it's his daughter's wedding day, and he's like, one day I'm going to come to you, right? And that day may never come, but when it does, or if it does, right, you're gonna reciprocate. So that was kind of our concept, and we had for 8 years at that company, we did that every single day.
So I think what I just heard from that is Ben is like The Godfather.
That's all I hear.
That's all I heard, right? Because you're sending him the Christmas card because you probably are actually repaying a debt he's probably already established.
Maybe that's what it is.
We think about reciprocity being tangible. It could be a gift. It could be the simple. What were the things at Costco that we were just talking about?
The samples, food samples.
No, the bagels, the mini bagels. Is that what you guys saying?
Whatever they're giving us. Yes, it's always delicious.
Yeah, you go to Costco and they give you samples, or every aisle has a sample on it, and for 4 months. They haven't been doing samples. And I was saying, I haven't bought an impulse buy at Costco in 4 months. But when I get that little sample for whatever reason, and like Dave was saying, he's like, they're not even that good. It's just the fact that somebody else cooked the thing, right? But I get that sample and I'm like, thanks. I'll take one of those, right? And they end up being the freezer burn thing in the back of my freezer. But
you feel compelled to do something, right? I feel that way. They give the little frozen yogurt cup, and you want to try to taste it. Heck yeah, frozen yogurt. I'll have some of that. I'm like, now I got to get a cone.
Sure.
Maybe 2 cones. I feel compelled to get 2 cones.
Save that for the ice cream
Nobody
episode.
said you have to get 2, by the way.
Another example is loyalty programs, referral programs.
That's a great one, yeah.
People use it in sales, like when they say, hey, I'm not sure if you want a camera today, but if you do, I want to give you this free case. It's on me, right? They're giving you this gift in advance. Like, well, that's really nice of that person. You feel compelled to do that transaction. Well, aside from tangible reciprocity, there's also emotional. Like when you call somebody, and I do this sometimes when somebody's really upset, customer or something like that, call them up and, hey, before we get started, I know we have some things we got to work out. I just want to thank you for trusting me that I'm going to resolve this and for doing business with me in the first place. It means a lot to me. What am I giving them? Gratitude.
Yep.
What do they immediately respond with?
Some kind of gratitude.
I appreciate your help. This has been frustrating. I know that I've been a little testy or whatever. Yeah, I get it. I understand, right? And then I'm giving them empathy, right? They're like, oh, he understands. And then I say, let me explain what's happening. And they're like, I get it. That's happened to me in the past, right? And they start giving me empathy back. Well, it could be as simple as saying, right, here's how I try to make myself feel better. I'll be like, hey, Chad, have you lost weight? He's like, yeah. And then he's like, have you lost weight? I'm like, yeah. Thanks for noticing. Thanks for noticing.
That conversation has never happened.
He is so rude. Have you guys ever noticed how rude Chad is? Hey, these sort of gestures, these assistants, these doing something nice for somebody, doing a chore, doing something for your neighbor, it creates reciprocity. It gets people to want to do things with you. Now, in Robert's book, Influence, he used a really good example. And I know you're all going to buy the book and read the book, and maybe we'll try to get him on the podcast.
Please tell me you're going to talk about the waiter example.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I wish I knew this when I was a server. For years, I wish someone had given me this book then.
Chad doesn't have the grace or charm to pull this off, but Bob Stewart does. Bob has the skills to do this. So in the book, they talked about servers were able to increase their average gratuity by 3% by simply doing one thing: handing somebody a mint. Just a mint. One of those crappy ones in the green wrapper.
With the black and green.
The thin mints, right? They've been sitting there for 74 years. They got dust on them. Just by giving you that one mint, on average, you get a 3% increase in income.
You know what your return on investment would be as a server giving those mints? I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, especially when they stole them.
Correct.
Right? They didn't pay for them. Now, my mom was a server. I wish I had this knowledge, when my mom was alive. I could have helped her, in that waitressing field.
It didn't stop there, though, at the 3% would just bring in that 1 mint.
No, what was interesting was when somebody doubled the amount of mints, 2 each.
2. We don't even need to go to Bob for the math on that one.
2, right? The gratuity didn't double. It quadrupled. It grew to a 14% increase in average tips.
That's amazing.
By simply doubling the mints. But here was the powerful thing, was in the book, they said, when the same amount of mints were delivered,
meaning 2,
doubled,
yep,
right? But they had some theatrics, the gratuity blew up to over 23% increase.
And by theatrics, they're talking about the waiter actually made a deal about, oh, I forgot to give you this extra mint, or there's 2 of you. I'm sorry, I only left. Here's a second mint.
Even better, theatrics. Here's a mint. Here's your bill. 4 steps walking away. Turn around, Bob. You made me laugh so many times tonight, right? You were really awesome to serve. Thank you. Here's a couple extra mints, and then you do the hair flick, check your nails, walk away song, right? 23%, you just got an increase.
That's amazing. Just amazing.
Simply adding some theatrics. They feel compelled to do this to you.
I know when I take the trash out tonight, I am going to be doing some theatrics. I'm going to get halfway out of the house and I'm going to come back with the trash and do some theatrics so my wife realizes that I'm taking the trash out, because it sounds like it works.
It's like compounded, right? It's like 1 mint, you get a little bit. 2 mints, you get more than just double, right? And 2 mints and some theatrics, and the theatrics to me are
personalizing
it, the compliment that's in there. Ben said, hey, you guys were so funny as a table today. It's exponential, right? A lot of the things we talk about are exponential. This idea of just adding a little bit more doesn't just get you that little bit more result. It actually gets you a dramatically outsized result.
In leadership, reciprocity could be you willing to give them some extra time. Your people are willing to invest some extra time in something.
Right.
You're willing to give them a little bit of a gift or a bonus. They give you 10 times the return. And I've seen that in leadership often. Like, I could go give somebody a raise, or I could write them a check for $1,000. Now, that raise could be twice as much. But the fact that I take the time to do it and I hand it to him and say, Bob, you've been working really hard. It means a lot to me. That one little thing. It doesn't have to be $1,000. It could be a book.
Yeah.
A pair of Nikes.
Yeah.
Right? Something of value. And it's not because I'm looking for a gift in return. I'm showing them that I care.
And that has to be the thing behind it. It's got to be authentic. It can't be, I'm handing you this, where's mine? This isn't a gift exchange. You're talking about I'm giving, the way Bob was saying, we're filling that bank, we're creating these opportunities, we're giving to people. They're going to feel obliged to repay that debt at some point in some way, however they can, but we're not doing it specifically for an immediate return sometime.
This is a long game, Ben. Like you've been doing this, we've been doing this in our world for 12 years, 15 years, as long as I've known you, right? It's the coaching and the training and going out and sharing your tactics, and really with no expectation of a return. I mean, sometimes people pay so that we can cover the expenses for the event that we're hosting or something, right? But it's not like we're going out and coaching and training to make a ton of money, right? We're doing it to like fill the banks of these people that we'd love to do business with someday, that we'd love to partner with someday, that we'd love to sell products to someday, right? Well, but it's a philosophy. Like we live this way most of the time.
But it can't always be the long game. Bob's right. He was giving a great example of the long game. You're a master at playing the long game. You're not looking for something back, yet you're filling that bank with people again and again. Yet we're talking about persuasion. And that is someone giving something and getting something back. So even though there is the long game available, Ben, talk a little bit about the short game that comes with it. That's that you're walking in somewhere and they're giving you something right away, like you said, the case, so you're more likely to buy the product.
Well, the rule of reciprocity, it's pretty simple, Chad. Give something away. What do you give? A gift?
A compliment.
A compliment. Service. valuable information, assistance. It could be as simple as on social media, you'll see that we take the time to respond to people. Sometimes I'll respond to 300, 400, 500 comments on a post, every single one of them. Every single one. Well, what do you think they're more likely to do in the future?
Comment,
engage. Interact, share, right? When somebody writes me a message, I try as hard as I can to respond to those. They're reasonable measures, but I try as hard to respond. And a lot of times the response back people might say is this a virtual assistant? Is this really Ben? You took the time to respond. I'm going to do the best I can to try to take the time to give you an answer.
So they gave you something in that message that you're looking to now give them back that follow-up response.
They gave me their time or energy,
yep,
right, or a little bit of their mind share. They took the time to listen to a podcast, to read one of our things, to visit our website, to take our wealth series. They did something. I feel, right, that's being used against me. I feel like I owe it to them to respond.
Right.
I have a form of, reciprocity.
And look, and there becomes this, it's a back and forth because you said they used it against you. You just said, right? They said something nice and you felt obligated to respond. Now you could have just responded and said, "Hey, thanks," but you realized reciprocity is a thing, so you said, "Hey, thanks," and then you did something more, right? You went and because some of these people, Ben, I'd imagine you might not know anything about them personally, so you probably actually spent the time. You went and looked and said, Oh yeah, they work at this place and they do this. Hey, how's things going in your right? Like you took a little bit of time. Now you're reciprocating, right? And it just keeps going back and forth potentially until at some point maybe there's a business ask in there or something you might want.
Would you consider reciprocity then being like a circle that just keeps going around, or maybe the way Bob's put it, like a tennis match where it's just we're lobbing it back and forth at each other?
It could be a one-time sales tactic that's used to get you to buy now.
Okay.
Or it could be a long-term strategy to earn the relationship or customer, or earn that relationship with that customer for life, right? You're actually creating a feeling of being in debt. I owe it back to you.
Yeah.
Once a person feels indebted to us, we have the ability to ask for what we want, and the rule of reciprocity starts to work.
Think about the flip side of that, Ben. I'm sure you have people like this in your life. All they ever do is ask for something, right? Eventually you're like, oh, here comes this guy again. Like he's going to ask for another thing. He wants my time. He wants my resources. He wants my whatever, right? If they were always leading with something of value your way, you would never get yourself into a situation where like, oh, here comes that guy again.
But I call that pooping in my kitchen.
Yeah.
People come constantly and all they do is poop in the kitchen. They don't understand the law of reciprocity. Let's talk a little bit about a tangible gift or an intangible gift and some of the rules or tactics around it. Number one, be first to offer a gift. When I go into a meeting, one of the most common gifts that I give are books, most of which written by the types of people we interview and talk to on this podcast. I will give the David Goggins book away. Tom Wheelwright's Tax-Free Wealth, Engaged Leadership, right? I give books away to people when they come in. Bob, you know what? I knew that we had this meeting today and I was thinking about you and the things that you wanted to talk about. And I thought that this book would be valuable to you. And I'll probably take the time to write a note in the inside. Just a small little thing.
So it's number one, first to offer the gift.
And unexpected, Chad.
Okay. So it's an
unexpected. That's why I hate Christmas, because you feel like you have to give a gift.
Sure.
I don't like that experience. By the way, I just had a birthday and you guys have to give me a present.
Got it.
Okay. Number two, it's got to be personalized. I hate junk gifts, and the worst thing in the world is a gift card. It's not personalized. It doesn't have value unless you know me so well that you know one of the two places that I would shop at.
We're not
and
giving that
spend
away.
Money.
Okay, you know what's funny is that so my mom, she gives me a gift card for my birthday every year, and I don't even know why she does this, but and I appreciate it, right? But she'd always give me an Amazon gift card, and I just put it in our Amazon account, and it ends up getting spent on whatever we buy at Amazon, toilet paper or whatever. And so earlier this year, I'm like, because I put myself on the shoe budget, I'm only allowed to buy 2 pairs of shoes this year. So I'm like, Mom, I don't want to be presumptuous, but if you are going to get me a birthday gift this year, a Nike gift card might be the way to go. And then you'll know that I'm going to spend it on myself. So personalized gift card. Yeah.
So now it's become personalized. And I remember one year when I was working with you, and I think it was my birthday, and you came to our staff meeting, and you had brought some gifts for me for my birthday, and you embarrassed in front of everybody. And I remember going up to Erin after and saying, thank you. And she said, nope, he did it himself, right? Which made it something that you did, which was personalizing it because you knew the person you were giving the gift to, which makes it just that much more powerful.
Absolutely. You know, I got a message earlier today from somebody. Her name's Emily. She runs Lydia Place, a nonprofit that we're really involved in that supports homelessness, mostly for parents of children, women specifically. And she said somebody just gave a donation for your birthday on behalf of you to their organization. That is a great example of something to me that they took the time to know what I care about, who I care about, and to write a check to somebody. And I don't know how much it was, right? But it means to me. It means a lot to me.
And you have a sense of debt to that person, right? If that person was to come and ask you for something, you're probably going to go a little bit further to help them, than not.
Because I know they care, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 3, the gift must have tangible value to the person.
Okay.
There's lots of gifts that have value to other people, but I could think of lots of things that you guys could give me that have no value to me. So what is that thing that you could give to that person that would be valuable? Bob's trying to think of something funny to say
I'm laughing
right now.
Because we've got the yellow runts, this running joke around here that you hate banana runts. And so people send them to you. You get these big packages of banana runts, but there is actually value in that because it's funny, right? It's like a comedic relief, probably the first time. The 10th package that showed up, maybe not so much, but.
I do have 4,000 banana runts in my office.
It's okay. Banana's the best of the runt flavors, which can be a whole other episode that we can discuss.
Come
so
on.
those
They're
of you
disgusting.
sending Ben
They're hard
banana
as a rock.
runts,
Like, get out of here.
keep sending them. That's okay. Now, Ben, I want to ask you a question though on this. If I'm in the store, if I'm persuading somebody using it as a sales technique or something, I might not know who that person is. How do I personalize? How do I have something with tangible value if I'm doing I'm giving to get? That yogurt sample, I don't know Bob's a vanilla guy when he's walking by and I'm offering strawberry frozen yogurt flavor or something along those lines.
It may not be that easy to do. You may have to say, hey, by the way, if you sign up for a credit card today, you get 10% off your blah, blah, blah. But because you don't know anything. But let's say you did know something about somebody and somebody was buying raspberries and you said, you know what I made the other day? I made these raspberries with this thing over here, and you walk them over here and say, you need this. This is what's going to make those raspberries 100 times. It's personalized. It's not even a gift, but it's an advice. It's an item of value. So if you combine these two things, it's no longer raspberries. It's an amazingness. Whatever that is, right?
Okay.
Number 4.
Yep.
You have to individualize the gift by clarifying who it is from. Here'd be an example. It'd be easy to send a package out from one of our companies, let's say Brivity, that said, hey, everybody, here's a free t-shirt. They might say, that's cool, appreciate the company. But if they got a message that says, hey, this is John, I work in support at Brivity, and I just wanted to thank you for being a customer. I thought you would look good in the shirt, right? And you send that out, there is a massive increase in the impact by simply making it from one person, not from the company.
Okay.
Sometimes company have even fake people that it feels like it's from, like Jake.
From State Farm?
From State Farm, right? Like they have these people, the message from Jake from State Farm is more powerful than just State Farm.
What do you think he's wearing right now?
Wonder what if his name is actually
Khakis.
Jake.
Red
Khakis,
shirt?
yeah. No, and lastly, be consistent and keep on giving. Right? If you give that gift once or you make that deposit once and never again, you aren't going to build that real reciprocity unless it's a one-time, one-night stand kind of transaction. If you want a long-term relationship, you have to continue to make deposits if you want to continue to make withdrawals.
That's also that loyalty program that you were talking about earlier that a lot of companies are doing out there. That's that consistent continuing to keep giving again and again and again. A free scoop, a free coffee, a free whatever that they'll give you again and again and again.
On the next episode, Chad, we're going to dive into scarcity and how the law of scarcity could be used to increase your sales, your marketing, your lead gen, your leadership, your influence, your persuasion. But that's all for now as we wrapped up reciprocity. How do we end every call?
Same way, gang. We want to remind you to make sure that you are taking the time to share these episodes with others. Use your influence, use your persuasion, get others to join us. As today we discussed reciprocity, and as Ben mentioned, we've got scarcity next. I don't know, maybe this episode should only be available for a limited time. Maybe the next episode becomes scarce. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out when we drop that episode for you. Make sure that you're out there washing those hands, and as always, do good.